So this video is going to be answering all of the questions that you asked in my private Facebook group. So if you haven't had a chance to join, be sure to check that out in the link in the description below. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into your questions. So the first one was, at what point did you start offering a membership for your digital shop? Or how many listings did you have before considering a membership? And was it difficult to set up annual or recurring fees for members? And what was the process of setting up the membership? So I actually started mine within the second month of switching over to be purely digital on Etsy, and I set it up on the Wix platform, and it was super simple to set up, and I only had 200 listings at the time. So I didn't have thousands of listings. I only had a couple hundred, and I really just made it clear about how many designs they were going to be getting each month so that they had a clear expectation of what they were paying for and what the membership could eventually look like as far as the designs. These days we have over 7,000 designs on that membership, and it just continues to grow every single week. And I will say that Wix is pretty much the only platform that we were able to get set up on due to the amount of designs that we were going to be putting on there and thinking long term, just due to file size. So we explored lots of options like Shopify and WordPress, and Wix was the only platform where there was a one set fee per month so that we could have that amount of designs and have that storage space available. So this next question is, how long did it take for you to see huge success? I've had some success so far with 20 plus sales, but it's not where I want to be so far. So my major success came the third month and towards the middle of the third month. It was pretty slow the first and the second month, and into the third month I was kind of like, what am I really working towards? And I had close to 500 listings at that time. But in the middle of March, I had, I think, 4 or 5 designs go viral on TikTok. And they were pulled from ideas that were trending on TikTok at the time, not cup designs, but I made them into cup designs. And then I posted them on my TikTok, which brought in a huge boost of sales over to the Etsy shop and really set it up, because since that point, it kind of never slowed down after that. And then it was after that point I started running ads on the shop on those very high performing listings. So this next question is, if something is not selling, how long do you leave it up for before you decide to remove it? So personally, I try to look at my shop every 3 to 4 months and take inventory of sorts. And I will just go to the very last page of my listings and work forward. And anything that has been up for the past 3 to 4 months, if it was a new listing and has not made over $30 in sales, so that would be the equivalent of about 10 sales because they are priced around $3, I will remove them. The only exception is if it was a seasonal product, like say Valentine's, and I got it up way too late to even make the Valentine's sale, so it wasn't put up in time, like 2 to 3 months before Valentine's Day. I will usually leave that so it has a chance the next season to hopefully get sales, unless it was really trend related or a style related that I know is not going to end up performing well again the next year. So this next question is, what are some good ways to grow your email list? I've been thinking about a Facebook group. Do you think that that is a good idea? And I was also using Etsy ads and made a few sales, but decided it was costing me more money than I was making, so I stopped. But then it's just like I dropped out of the game. Like, no one sees anything that I list anymore, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Or does Etsy punish you for discontinuing your ads? Because that is how it feels. I know what you feel like, because I turned off my ads about 6 months ago, and I did see obviously a very steady decline for a while, but now it's all organic sales and it seems to actually be picking up, which is a good sign. As far as how to grow your email list, what I recommend is making sure that you have an outstanding freebie or a lead magnet, which is how you're getting them to actually sign up. And for most people, that is just offering something free of what they already currently sell, or something that complements your product. I don't normally see email lists grow very well if you're just saying sign up for my email list without offering them a good reason to actually sign up. But some of the popular ways to grow that is you can run Facebook ads to a freebie to opt in and join your list, or you can do this on something like Pinterest and something like Instagram. I would just really recommend, I've done this on TikTok too now that I think about it, but I did that with a giveaway. So there's lots of different options as far as just offering something free, or you can do something even bigger. In my case, both times that I've done the giveaway option, it's been giving away a sublimation heat press, which is very, very expensive for people who are starting out in sublimation to get. So it's a very expensive giveaway item, but it does pull in a lot of people to join that email list, and then of course share your social media, and so you kind of grow both at the same time. So I would highly recommend doing that if you can afford it. Other than that, I just recommend giving away what it is that you're selling or something that complements it so that they actually join the list. So this next question is, how do you structure your week to stay productive and not let your business fall to the wayside of life? So I struggled with this in the beginning because I still had kids at home. These days, it's not so much an issue because they are all in school. And so I'm able to dedicate the good portion of the beginning of my day to my work. But I work based on like a block scheduling type schedule. And that is because it's very hard for me as a person with ADHD and lots of different interests and things that I want to do. If I don't work on things in a block schedule, meaning like one thing per day, and if I try to hit like 5 different things in a day, I'm normally not very productive at all because I'll just like jump from tab to tab to tab, if that makes sense, on my computer. And I'm never actually committing to one thing and getting one thing done. So for an example of what I currently do, I design just twice a month now, and I believe it's Mondays on my schedule every other twice a month. And on those Mondays, I will just sit and design for about 4 hours. My day is usually scheduled from about 8:30 to 1. So I have 2 design days a month, and then that is it for that. And then they are scheduled throughout the rest of the month. And then I have days dedicated to like creating content for this YouTube channel or supporting my membership, and then a few other things that are just day to day that take about 30 minutes of my time, which is like responding to my email. And I save that for the end of the day when I'm not trying to be creative or build something new, or it takes a lot of energy. So I do save that to the end of the day. And that really helps because I found when I was checking my email first thing in the morning that I would get distracted and I would be responding to a bunch of people, and then I would start worrying about something else and working on something, and then nothing would end up getting done. So I would highly recommend working like this block type schedule if you can, and just kind of look at everything that you have for any given month and schedule your month accordingly or your week accordingly if you can. So how can we make AI art for large wall art that is not pixelated or blurry without vectorizing the image? So I would just recommend making sure that when you have your AI image, whether that is from Midjourney or a different AI generator, that you make sure that you're upscaling it first in an AI upscaler tool. So I personally use the Gigapixel AI from Topaz to upscale mine if I am creating it in Midjourney. If I'm creating it in something like Kittle, I do not normally need to. I will upscale it in there, and then that's enough. So the only other place that I've used is DALL-E 3, and I will just use the Topaz AI upscaler, and that is usually fine as well. So this next question says that I am selling t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs on Etsy from outside the US. I'm considering expanding into digital design products. First, would you recommend adding these new products to my existing shop to leverage my customer base, or should I start a new shop for a more apparent brand distinction? So first off, I recommend if you are planning to keep your physical items on the shop as well as adding in those digital products, that they all are catered to a specific audience. This is kind of went over in my hybrid shop video. If you haven't seen that, it will be right up here, as well as I do have a module for that in my course if you are planning on building that type of shop out. just because it's really hard to market to people who are buying digital designs and buying physical products if they're not one in the same. If you are planning on removing those physical products eventually down the line, then I would totally just be adding them and then removing things as you are making sales on the digital products and trying to get that part built up. I have done this successfully in both situations with my shop before, both with handmade and then with print on demand, finally just winding up to be purely digital. I would say that it is good to leverage your existing customer base if you've had sales and reviews. If you plan on just keeping one shop, this is a different situation. If you plan on having two shops anyway, and you want to keep that physical product and it doesn't line up with the audience of the digital designs, just because you don't want to waste those reviews and all of those sales that you had worked so hard for. Secondly, I've seen discussions in this group about non-US sellers facing visibility issues in Etsy's search engine, which affects sales. Could this impact my decision on how to expand? So I have heard that with physical products that Etsy does try to show the products to people within your region that you're selling. And a way to get around this is you can try to put your production partner of whoever is fulfilling your products in that zip code area, if you haven't done that already, showing that it's fulfilled out of a certain area to kind of avoid this issue of just being shown in one region. I have not heard of this affecting any digital product sellers that I'm aware of, and I have customers from all around the world as far as people who buy my designs. So I don't think it really necessarily affects digital product sellers, but I do understand where it does affect people who are selling physical items and Etsy taking into where you are located and trying to show as closely related to that customer so it doesn't have to ship as far and the processing and shipping time doesn't take as long. Tips for handling difficult customers who really don't know what they bought, aka not it's a not $3 tumbler. You did get a link from Etsy. So I do understand what this is. I've had this several times, and no matter how clear you are in your listing as far as your images and on your main photo saying it's a digital product and in your description, in your title, there will still always be people thinking that they are getting a physical tumbler when everywhere else it says that it's a digital product and that it is $3. So I usually check to see if they are someone who has purchased from me before. If they have and they are saying that, and especially if they've downloaded the product, then I don't give them a refund just because it's a digital product, and that is, Etsy does not support refunds on that unless you, the seller, decides to give that. So I really think that it's up to the seller's discretion whether you want to provide that discount or not. And usually you can tell with how they're messaging or not. I have had several people who have bought several designs from me and then say that they didn't know and they had downloaded all of the files. So in that case, I don't. If the files have not been downloaded and it's someone actually, you can kind of tell that they really didn't know, then I will usually just refund them. This next question is, do you upscale your designs before you put them in Kittl? What do you do when your upscaled PNG is very large? I don't want to lose quality, but I'm scared that too big a file is not easy for the customer. So I don't upscale anything if it's not from Midjourney. Just because I'm usually creating in Kittl anyway, and at the 300 DPI, the size is perfectly fine to upload that directly to Etsy. If it is a group of images, I will create a PDF with a link to a Google Drive that they can then go and access all of the images together. But it kind of depends on if I am just generating in Kittl or if I am pulling it from another design. So I kind of went over this a little bit before, but if it's from Dolly or if it's from Midjourney, then I will just upscale it in the Topaz app. Is there something in our course on how to set up coupon codes to give to only certain customers, i.e. customers who have left a photo review? As far as I know, there is not a way to set up a coupon based on a certain action. though you could set up one for people who leave photo reviews, and then you could actually advertise it that they, in your description or something, that you appreciate photo reviews, and be sure to reach out for an exclusive discount if you've left a photo review, though this would have to be done like as a manual process. Or you could reach out to people individually via messages with that discount code if you've seen that they have left a photo review. But unfortunately, there's not a way to set up one automatically where it just goes if someone left a photo review. I know some platforms now have AI categories or tags, but not all do, and it varies from platform to platform if it's required to mark it as AI. Should AI artwork be labeled AI if the platform doesn't require it? Does it matter to most customers if artwork is AI? So I think that this will depend on what category you're selling in. I know with wall arts, there are some customers who do care if it is AI or not AI generated. So I would be sure to include it if it's something like that. Personally, from my experience, Tumblr customers and sublimation customers do not care if it's AI or not, because they're really just looking at the overall design itself and what the design itself says. As for the Etsy platform, there was actually, right when AI image generation came out, something in their policy that said that it did need to be labeled as AI, but since then I've been unable to find that article or that post again, and I did go ahead and personally change mine to say that if it was made with AI or not, it was marked in those image or in the descriptions of the Etsy listings. I just watched your V45 video. Can you go over the latest version of the process? Is it Kittle? And then moving over to V45. So personally for me, it kind of varies depending on what I'm creating in that day and what I'm creating for. So if I was creating like a pack of clip art for glass tumblers or for t-shirt designs and it was a bundle, I most likely probably would use V45 and something like Kittle, just because it would mock up the majority of those for me, because it puts it on mock-ups like a glass jar and a t-shirt for me, and it does all of that part. I think for tumblers, I mostly still stick with the way that I am creating now, which is whether it is done in Midjourney or if it's done in Kittle, I will move my designs all to their one folder, and then I'll do a big bulk mock-up of all of my Tumblr designs, which is done through the app Bulk Mockup, and that is a Photoshop. I do have a video of that. I will link that up here on how I use that. For me, it really just depends on the product, and I think that I'm designing for, and I think it will just really depend on what you're creating and which platform that you like the most to either mock up things in, because once we mock them up in Bulk Mockup, I'm actually moving them over, or my VA puts them all in Vela, and that is how we upload them in bulk to Etsy. And this last question is, I am just starting a clip art shop on Etsy. I have started with Midjourney because it can give me multiple images for a pack that have the same style. I use an upscaler, then Canva for background, then Photopea for DPI. I am wondering if Kittle would be a better option for me because it is all in one, especially now with the AI. I just saw your video on clip art automation, and it seemed as though using the same prompt but changing out the flowers, you were able to stay with the same aesthetic look. Just wondering your thoughts as I am starting out, one or the other for cost factors for me. I definitely get this as far as the different platforms and software design studios that you can use. And I would just recommend choosing the AI platform that you're most comfortable with as far as generating in. I do know Midjourney, you can do this all at once. The difference with Kittle is you will need to do it individually, as I was showing, and you can just try to get the same look and aesthetic by changing as little as possible in each prompt, which is what I normally do. And that's just simply by changing usually the colors and then any part of the main design. So those were all coffee designs. So yes, I was just changing the flower usually, and then I would switch the colors if I needed to. The one good thing about Midjourney is that you can put all of these in at one time, or up to 16, I believe, and all get them to be able to generate at once, and then they do all look the same. But you can use a bulk upscaler like my designs to do the background removal remover and the upscaling at the same time. So that would essentially just give you 2 things instead of 3, because you wouldn't need an AI upscaler, and then you could push it directly from my designs to your Etsy shop if you wanted to. So I will have a link for them down in the description below. But again, it really just will depend on what you're most comfortable with and what you want your process to be, and which design software tool that you like generating in. I know that Midjourney now has their, I think it's their, alpha version they're calling it, where you can design within the browser, the URL browser, instead of having to do it in Discord, which is much easier because you don't have to use all of those little parameters that you had to use within the Discord server. So hopefully all of this made sense and answered a lot of your questions that you had posted. If you want to be in the next round of this Q&A type video, then be sure to join the Facebook group. Again, that link will be down in the description below, and I will see you all in the next video.